Join us at Women of Courage and celebrate the achievements of women. Good afternoon, and thank you for tuning in. This is Gloria Lee, the moderator for the show Women of Courage. Wherever you are in the world, I need you to know one thing right now. You are amazing. I know you might be upset. I know you might be hurting. And I know you might be frustrated. I know because all of these things happened to me. I was homeless for 2 years, and all I had was a computer, my son, and a car. I want you to know you still have a purpose in life, and it is my job to help you believe that again. Do you want to believe? Can you see that the divorce was not meant to take you out? Can you believe that the lost house and the lost job is a setup for something greater? By the end of this broadcast, you'll be injected with so much that you cannot help but believe again. And I am going to help you do just that. Are you ready? I got some things I want to share with you, and I will even make suggestions on books and activities that you can implement, which will ultimately bring healing and wholeness to you. If you are ready to be healed, if you're ready to be whole, just jot down the pointers I give and watch your life transform. No matter what happened, no matter whose fault it was, today is a new day, and your time to live and be free is now. Join me in this journey to wholeness. Your time for total healing is now. Today you shall recover. Wholeness, healness, and peacefulness is in the mind. That is where all battles for life end and begin. The Women of Courage show is being broadcast by the Women and Children's Restoration Ministries to help you problem solve, to help you dream again, to help you believe that anything is possible. We want you to believe that you do not have to marry the first man you meet just to get someone to take care of you. You do not have to live a life of drudgery. You can educate yourself. All you have to do is learn to read competently. We want you to take a chance on yourself. Stop believing all the soothsayers around you that have never left a state in their lives. People who do not have courage to fly. People who only think of lying, cheating, and stealing. You can live an exciting life. All you have to do is believe that you can make your dreams come true. You do not have to go to bed with someone you despise day in and day out. You have the right to marry someone that you can talk to someone that believes in you and has faith in you as a human being. In other words, you do not have to settle for just anyone. But what you must do is strive toward your goal. You must be goal oriented. You must organize yourself. You must be clear about what you want in life and why you want such a life. All of us are made up of dreams. As our dreams unfold in our lives, our spirit soars. Realizing our dreams becomes a problem because oftentimes we are beaten down by our friends and family. We are beaten down at school by people laughing at us because of our shoe size, our ear size, our breast size, the clothes we wear, etc. We are beaten down by people saying nothing will come of our lives. We are beaten down when our mothers and grandmothers constantly say that we're going to be just like our father, an inmate in prison. Many of us are also discouraged when our mothers are inattentive. She is wrapped up in her new boyfriend. But life anew is possible. It is my job to encourage you to go as far as you can dream and as far as your dreams can take you. It is my job to get you to believe in life again. I am sick and tired of people failing at life just because they are around negative speaking and negative acting people. Do not let the failure of other people make you lose confidence in yourself. Yes, you may be surrounded by poverty, but you must look for a way out. The book, If You Believe in God, You Do Not Belong in Prison, will help you. What you must do above all else is learn to read competently. You must read, read, and read. Anyone who laughs at you for reading, you need to leave that person alone. I do not care if it's your mother. Anyone who discourages you, you are to stop all association. Man is not different than plants. We need encouragement to grow as plants need water to thrive. You are to leave foolish, stupid people alone. Their ignorance will weigh you down or even get you killed. Sit down and think how you can avoid these people, especially if they're in your family. If you are overwhelmed with the tiring feeling that feels as if you're carrying a bag of stone around every morning when you get out of bed and think how you'll have to spend another living life you're not passionate about, the books I suggest are the perfect solution for your unique needs. Not only will we help you realize why these feelings overwhelm you and what you can do to change it, but they will also teach you how to live a life of strength, courage, fearlessness in order to realize all of your dreams. If you are lacking the attitude and psychology, proper resource or vision to make your dreams a reality, combined with dissatisfaction with the execution of your plans, but you remain firmly dedicated to making your ambition a reality and creating the life you deserve, you will certainly derive the most benefit from professional, incredible content within these books. Contents that will assist you in achieving the results that you are after. You are never to give up on yourself. Are you ready to leave your future to chance? Of course not. Take your life in your hand and learn all the necessary tools, mindset, strategies used by the men and women of courage, used in order to live the life of their dream. Change your life with our book starting today. Before we begin, we're going to take a few moments to collect ourselves and to relax before we engage into our discussion. What we need to do is to focus now on bringing positive energy into our lives and into the world. The energy that we project every day is the same energy that we get back. We have all seen those people that can walk into a room and they glow. People want to be around them. People feel better being in their presence. That's the energy that we need to create. And once we learn how to do this, our lives will be filled with greatness. We will attract that positive energy. And how we can do this is by changing our outlook, meeting every day with gratitude, thankfulness, optimism, and once you do this, you will see a change in yourself. I want you to take a moment and close your eyes. Think about everything positive in your life. Family, friends, a career, your faith. All of this is how you start your day. Every morning when you wake up, I want you to think about what is positive in your life. I want you to list 10 reasons why your life is amazing. You will see the change. You will be changed. You will begin to attract life's blessings. Lead with gratitude. Be thankful and think positive.
It's just as important to how you end the day as it is to how you start the day. And that's with positivity. Now, we can't change what has happened today, but we can change our thoughts into tomorrow. Now, before you sleep, you need to make sure you're in a calm state of mind. No phones, no tablets, no distractions. I want you to start thinking about all of your dreams and goals coming true. I want you to really picture how life would be once you meet those goals. How happy would you be? How would your life change for the better if you met these goals? Now you can start to feel the anxiety of the day slowly fade. You can start to feel the heaviness turn to light. And every moment you stay in this calm state, you start to feel better, feel more confident. You start to feel more assured. And this is how you end every day, thinking about your goals, thinking about your accomplishments, thinking about the positive people in your life, all the support you have, all the people wishing you success. This is how you end your day. A calm state with positive thoughts. Your future is now. Visualize it into tomorrow.
Our very democracy is on the ballot this year. I want you to prepare to vote. I want you to make up in your mind, come hell or high water, that you will vote in every election that is held in the state of Michigan to the day you die, regardless of how long the voting lines are and regardless of the weather. Your vote is important. This is why you need to take some water with you and a small stool to sit on when you go to vote. Your vote will determine the property tax we pay, the car insurance that we pay, the housing that is available for seniors, and the schools for our children to attend. Your vote will determine the number of new job openings, the number of hospitals and hotels in our city. Your vote will determine the policies at our universities and police force. Never assume that your vote does not count. If your vote doesn't count, why are the Republicans in Lansing doing everything they can to make certain that you can't vote? Think about it. They had a meeting with Trump regarding voting in Michigan. Voting is the most essential activity outside of reading that you will ever do in your life. People have died so you can vote. Elections come down to turnout, so stand in line and make your vote count. I know that you feel what you think does not matter. You think that politics is just a game played by people with power using people without power. Republicans believe that closing all the polling places will silence you. They vastly underestimate our resolve. Republicans are going all out to limit voting rights. Why? Because they know voting matters. They are trying to discourage and to fool you so you will not participate. Republicans know they can discourage people from voting by putting obstacles in their way. This is why the Republicans in the state of Florida tried so hard to keep felons from voting in the last presidential election. Why? Because they wanted liars to be reelected. Republicans are using the same dangerous lies that caused an anti-democratic insurrection on January the 6th in service of their own anti-democratic policies. Republicans will do anything to win. Now the Republicans are exalting Putin in his rape of Ukraine and calling for religious leaders to run the government. We don't need a separation of church and state, they say. All we have to do is let the religious leaders tell us what to do. Let me tell you something. The only way Republicans can win an election is if they cheat. That's correct. Republicans have to cheat to win elections. You know why? Their policies aren't popular. The more eligible voters turn out for an election, the less Republicans win. Their clearest path to staying in power is limiting the number of people who are able to cast a ballot, and particularly limiting the number of Democrats, people of color, and Black people in particular, people in cities, and college students. Trump told Fox and Friends that Democratic appeal for wider use of an absentee ballot and vote by mail would cause a level of voting that we have never seen before. A Republican would never be able to be elected in this country again if that happened. That was the only lie Trump did not tell. Republicans rely upon ignorance and prejudice to win elections. This is why they talk out of both sides of their mouths. Republicans love ignorant people. Ignorant people are great followers. They can be controlled by their emotions, and they are capable of great violence. Ignorance and hatred are the two mainstays of republicanism. Their voters are not thinkers. Ignorance and hatred took over Germany. Hitler appealed to the German need to feel superior. The Germans reveled in persecuting Jews. The ultimate power they had over Jews in the concentration camps thrilled them. The ugly female prison guards loved selecting pretty Jewish women for extermination. Oh, how great the power! They never had such intoxicating power. To keep this power, all they had to do was give their will over to Hitler. Make up in your mind you are somebody, that you are a man who knows what kind of future he wants for his friends and family and society. Let no man stop you from voting. It is time for you to go register to vote. The stakes are high. Vote. I am going to pause for a second to take a short break while you listen to information regarding willpower and encouragement. It is all a matter of learning new behaviors. And please remember, it is easier to build strong minds than to repair injured people. What I said is a modification of a quote by Frederick Douglass. He said, "It is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men." Now for my break.
Oftentimes, we talk so much about the success of something that we don't highlight how important failure can be. Failure is what gives us those real life lessons. And until you've experienced that, you can't truly understand what success means. Because through failure, we begin to understand who we are, what we're made of, what we're willing to do to become successful. Failure is only an event. It does not define you. All it does is create new opportunities for you to succeed. Once one door closes, more will open. But you need to believe that. You need to live life now. Risk everything for your dreams. No matter what the results are, trust in yourself that you will find a way to become successful. In this life, we do not fear failure. We embrace the opportunities that come from it. Think about everything that has been created in this world. If people would have given up after one failure, what would we have? We would literally have nothing. We do not fear failure. We grow from it, we learn from it, and we move on. You need to live life with a purpose. You need to spend the time needed to explore, to find your true passion. There are so many unhappy people in this world not willing to make a change. There are so many unhappy people not focusing on the big picture. 1 out of 3 people are happy with their lives. Think about that for a second. 70% of the people you see every day are not happy. And the majority of that has to do with purpose. People are programmed, wired to be okay with the minimum. People stay in jobs they're not passionate about. They date people who don't support them, hang out with people who don't help them grow. This can't be you. You need to spend the time to discover what your true calling is. What are you passionate about? What do you see yourself doing to make your mark? Are you in a job right now that you're truly happy with? Do you wake up every morning excited to start your day? If not, that's okay. You know now this isn't fulfilling you. But what are you gonna do about it? Are you willing to make a change to help reach your goals? If you are, it needs to start now. Because this won't happen overnight, finding your true calling. But once you do, you will see how everything changes. You will begin to see the quality of your life increase. All those problems you had, they slowly fade. You begin to see how powerful life is with a purpose.
Earlier, I said that people had died so you would have the right to vote. You may have thought I was speaking rhetorically or talking about men who died during the war. No, I was talking about people here in America that died horribly so you could vote. Many of these people died in the South, where some of the most hateful people in the world live. I shall now tell you about 3 such men. Their names are Michael Sherner, he was age 24, James Chaney, age 21, and Andrew Goodman, age 20. I was alive when this happened, and I shall never forget these men and how they died. These men should always be remembered. They were willing to help try to secure the right to vote by black people. 58 years ago, June 20th, 1964, 20-year-old Andrew Goodman arrived in Meridian, Mississippi to work with Michael Schwerner, and he was a 24-year-old New York social worker, and James Chaney, who was a 21-year-old black man. They were in Mississippi to register black people to vote. He wrote, "Dear Mom and Dad, I have arrived safely in Meridian, Mississippi. This is a wonderful town and the weather is fine. I wish you were here. The people in this city are wonderful and our reception was good. All love, Andy. Andy had no idea where he actually was and men who hated him. What Goodman did not know was that members of the local chapter of the Ku Klux Klan, dedicated to preserving segregation, to keeping black people from voting, loathed Swarner, and at a meeting they routinely talked about killing him. They held off until they got authorization from the Klan state leader, Sam Bowers. But several weeks before Goodman arrived in Mississippi, they got that authorization to kill. The next day, Sunday, the three set out to investigate the recent burning of a church whose leaders had agreed to participate in voter registration. An arson that, unbeknown to them, was committed by the same Klan members who received authorization to kill Swarner. After the three men left the burned church, Deputy Sheriff Cecil Ray Price stopped their car, allegedly for speeding, then arrested the three men on suspicion that they had burned the church. Stupid. That night, after they paid their speeding ticket and left, Price followed them. He stopped them, ordered them into his car, and then took them down a deserted road and turned them over to 2 carloads of his fellow terrorists. They beat and murdered the men and buried them at an earthen dam that was under construction. Turned out that Price and Sheriff Lawrence A. Rainey were members of the Ku Klux Klan, and Price had alerted his fellow Klansmen that he had nabbed Swarner, then dropped the 3 civil rights workers into their hands. An FBI investigation to find the missing men ran up against both stonewalling and fear. Locals lied and obstructed the federal law enforcement officers, claiming that the 3 men had disappeared on their own to attract attention to the cause of voting rights. No state or local charges were brought against anyone suspected of being involved in their disappearance. Only 2 of the Klansmen cracked and began cooperating with the federal government. In December 1964, 18 men were indicted for their participation in the murders. But the Ku Klux Klan members were accustomed to running their state as they saw fit. They did not believe they would be punished. A notorious photograph caught Price and Rainey laughing at a hearing after their arraignment for the conspiracy and violating the civil rights of murdered men. Both were federal offenses. Price was convicted and sentenced only to 6 years in prison. He served 4 years. Rainey, who was not at the murder scene, was found not guilty, but he lost his job and his marriage, and then he blamed the FBI and the media for ruining his life. Today, June 20th, 2022, a Republican candidate for the Senate in Missouri, disgraced former Governor Eric Gretchen, released an advertisement threatening those Republicans he considered too moderate, the so-called Republicans in name only. Gretchen resigned from his governorship after a woman accused him of tying her up, photographing her, and sexually assaulting her, and then blackmailing her. And the Missouri legislature agreed that Gretchen had engaged in multiple acts constituting crimes, misconduct, and acts of moral turpitude. When Gretchen's ex-wife accused him of abusing her and the children, he claimed the accusation was egged on by the Rhino Swamp. And Gretchen is armed with a shotgun and flanked with military personnel as they burst into a house. Today we're going rhino hunting, he says. The rhinos feed on corruption and is marked with the stripes of cowardice, he continued. Join the MAGA crew. Get a rhino hunting permit. There's no bagging limit, no tagging limit. and it doesn't expire until we save our country. The words of this man and the death of the 3 young men in 1964 should cause you to stand up and vote. Now, I would like for you to listen to what Judge Ludwig said to the chairman of the January 6th committee during the third hearing. Judge Ludwig said that there is still a clear and present danger to our democracy posed by the MAGA people and those people following ex or former President Trump. Listen closely.
Judge Ludwig and Mr. Jacob, our nation owes you a great debt for your knowledge, integrity, and your loyalty to our Constitution. You and Vice President Pence are exactly the people our nation needed at a critical time. You had the courage to do what was right. In the weeks leading up to January 6th, many people failed this test when they had to choose between their oath to the country or the demands of Donald Trump. But there were others who, like you, stood tall in the face of intimidation and put our democracy first. They include the judges who rejected the bogus claims of election fraud, the senior Justice Department officials who stood up to Donald Trump, and the state officials whom we will hear from at our next hearing. We are deeply grateful to your courage and devotion to our country. There are some who think the danger has passed, that even though there were violence and a corrupt attempt to overturn the presidential election, the system worked. I look at it another way. Our system nearly failed and our democratic foundation destroyed, but for people like you. Judge Ludwig, I want to give you an opportunity to share your thoughts on the ongoing threat. You've written the clear and present danger to our democracy. Now is that former President Donald Trump and other political allies appear prepared to seize the presidency in 2024 if Mr. Trump or one of his anointed candidates is not elected by the American people. What do you mean by this?
Mr. Chairman, I'm honored beyond words by your words. I was honored on January 6, 2021, then also honored beyond words to have been able to come to the aid of Vice President Mike Pence. I prayed that day, just like the Vice President prayed that day. I believe we may have prayed the same prayer to the same God. I prayed that same prayer with my wife this morning before I came into these hearings. I have written, as you said, Chairman Thompson, that today, almost 2 years after that fateful day in January 2021, that still Donald Trump and his allies and supporters are a clear and present danger to American democracy. That's not because of what happened on January 6th. It's because to this very day, the former president, his allies and supporters pledge that in the presidential election of 2024, if the former president or his anointed successor as the Republican Party presidential candidate were to lose that election, that they would attempt to overturn that 2024 election in the same way that they attempted to overturn the 2020 election, but succeed in 2024 where they failed in 2020. I don't speak those words lightly. I would have never spoken those words ever in my life, except that that's what the former president and his allies are telling us. As I said in that New York Times op-ed, wherein I was speaking about the Electoral Count Act of 1887, the former president and his allies are executing that blueprint for 2024 in open and plain view of the American public. I repeat, I would have never uttered one single one of those words unless the former president and his allies were candidly and proudly speaking those exact words to America. Chairman, thank you for the opportunity to appear here today for these proceedings.
Thank you again, Judge Ludick. As a part of the Select Committee's charge to make recommendations that are informed by other investigative findings, we will be reviewing the views shared by Judge Ludick and other experts on potential improvements to the Electoral Count Act, among a range of other initiatives. I know the information we presented over the last week is shocking. The idea that a president of the United States would orchestrate a scheme to stay in power after the people have voted him out of office. We're able to present this information because so many witnesses have cooperated with our probe. But the fact is, there are more people with direct knowledge, with evidence germane to our investigation. I ask those who might be on the fence about cooperating to reach out to us. The committee's website address is being displayed behind me, january6.house.gov. There you can view the evidence we presented in our hearings and find a tip line to submit any information you might think would be helpful for our investigation. And despite how you might not think it's important, send us what you think. And I thank those who sent us evidence for their bravery and patriotism. Without objections, members will be permitted 10 business days to submit statements for the record, including opening remarks and additional questions for the witnesses. The chair requests those in the hearing room remain seated until the Capitol Police have escorted members from the room. Without objection, the committee stands adjourned.
I am going to pause for a second to take a short break while you listen to information regarding willpower and encouragement. It is all a matter of learning new behaviors. And please remember, it is easier to build strong minds than to repair injured people. What I said is a modification of a quote by Frederick Douglass. He said, "It is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men." Now for my break.
Oftentimes, we talk so much about the success of something that we don't highlight how important failure can be. Failure is what gives us those real life lessons. And until you've experienced that, you can't truly understand what success means. Because through failure, we begin to understand who we are, what we're made of, what we're willing to do to become successful. Failure is only an event. It does not define you. All it does is create new opportunities for you to succeed. Once one door closes, more will open. But you need to believe that. You need to live life now. Risk everything for your dreams. No matter what the results are, trust in yourself that you will find a way to become successful. In this life, we do not fear failure. We embrace the opportunities that come from it. Think about everything that has been created in this world. If people would have given up after one failure, what would we have? We would literally have nothing. We do not fear failure. We grow from it, we learn from it, and we move on. You need to live life with a purpose. You need to spend the time needed to explore, to find your true passion. There are so many unhappy people in this world not willing to make a change. There are so many unhappy people not focusing on the big picture. 1 out of 3 people are happy with their lives. Think about that for a second. 70% of the people you see every day are not happy. And the majority of that has to do with purpose. People are programmed, wired to be okay with the minimum. People stay in jobs they're not passionate about. They date people who don't support them, hang out with people who don't help them grow. This can't be you. You need to spend the time to discover what your true calling is. What are you passionate about? What do you see yourself doing to make your mark? Are you in a job right now that you're truly happy with? Do you wake up every morning excited to start your day? If not, that's okay. You know now this isn't fulfilling you. But what are you gonna do about it? Are you willing to make a change to help reach your goals? If you are, it needs to start now. Because this won't happen overnight, finding your true calling. But once you do, you will see how everything changes. You will begin to see the quality of your life increase. All those problems you had, they slowly fade. You begin to see how powerful life is with a purpose.
Today we will be discussing the book, What You Must Do to Win. This is an excellent read, and after you finish reading it, you will enjoy it, but you must put some of the ideas that the author talks about into practice. Reading is not enough. You must put these ideas into practice. If you are concerned with the direction that your life is taking, you should consider the way you think. If you are unhappy in your marriage, consider the way you think. If you are unhappy at your job, you should consider the way you think. If you are unmarried but pregnant with your third child, you should consider the way you think. If you are some man's mistress, you should consider the way that you think. If you are drowning your heart with alcohol, you should consider the way you think. If you are cheating on your spouse, you should consider the way you think. If you are planning on killing your boyfriend's wife, you should consider the way you think. If you are jeopardizing your children's lives by bringing an unrelated male into your home, you should consider the way you think. If you are allowing your husband to beat you in your home, you should consider the way you think. If you are soothing your mental pain with opioids, you should consider the way you think. If you are considering moving in with a man without the benefit of marriage, you should consider the way you think. If you are preparing or not preparing for retirement, you should consider the way you think. If you purchase expensive clothing to impress other people, but you do not spend money so your child can have a computer or a tutor to help him with school, you definitely need to consider the way you think. One of the reasons why mankind has had and is having problems with thinking is that all of his or her life they have been taught by their teachers and parents and grandparents what to think, not how to think. Listen to that distinction again. People, as children, are told what to think, not how to think. They're not taught that. A case in point is the notion that Columbus discovered America. He did not. Recently, a group of seventh graders took a publisher to task for saying in their textbooks that Columbus discovered America. The seventh graders said he discovered an island in the Caribbean, not America. Not being taught how to think is especially true in households where parents do not allow dissenting opinions from their children. Parents such as these exert control over thought in their households because they cannot tolerate or counter opposing opinions. These parents cannot tolerate a child questioning the existence of God. They cannot tolerate a child questioning the theory of creation. Creation must be accepted because it's right. Not so much that the theory of creation is right or can be proven, but that certain men say it's right and these men can back their opinion up with a gun. These gun-toting men say, we shall ignore any opinion that we do not agree with the way we think. So you see, man has two problems. He's not being taught how to think, and his thoughts are constantly being inhibited by men who seek power. Men who seek power like to be followed by people who are stupid and people who cannot think. Men who think cannot be controlled unless you kill 1,000,000 of them. So says the dictators of this world. All a dictator needs is a gun and religion. He can rule forever. Politics aside, let us look at areas closer to home. We shall discuss thinking with respect to who is the face in the mirror that we look at every morning. There are several categories of thinking. When you have time, go to several dictionaries and look up the meanings of the various categories of thinking. There is negative thinking and there is positive thinking. There is healthy thinking and there is unhealthy thinking. There is emotional thinking and there is non-emotional thinking. And there is a category called critical thinking. This is a type of thinking used by problem solvers and inventors. These thinkers were responsible for the scientific method. These are the futuristic thinkers. They are constantly asking the question, what if? Only when they ask the question, what if, is the thinker is looking to a project and to solve a problem. They're not looking to forecast gloom and doom. Most people think negatively, forgetting that negative thinking means when you think this way, you can foretell the future. The problem with negative thinking, such as worrying, it can become a habit. Negative thinking can turn you into a sad sack, and no one wants to be around you. They do not even want you as an employee or a neighbor. Why? Because negative thinking is no good for yourself or others. Your thinking does not enhance your life. Your thinking causes people to be depressed. When drinking is no longer fun, it is depressing. When using drugs is no longer fun, it is depressing. In the book, What You Must Do to Win, the writer presents you with several situations that people find themselves in, and the writer gives you some suggestions as to how to get out of these situations. God said, choose life. To do this, you must believe and you must stand up to change. Do not let negative people and toxic relationships keep you from realizing your dreams. You can be a better person. You must stop doing what you're doing and decide on conducting a better life. The drinking, the smoking, the snorting coke, lusting after someone else's boyfriend or husband or wife, and sexting every time you get a chance signifies that you have no respect for yourself or your children or anyone else. You have given up. You do not know how to manage your life. Your self-image is out of sync. How low are you going to go before you change? Your children will not survive if you do not change. Take a good look at your children. They will not have a future if you do not change. Are you not tired of seeing men and boys being carted off to prison for lack of knowledge or opportunity? Are you not tired of seeing women stand on the corner prostituting themselves? Are you not tired of envying other people and saying to yourself, I wish I were them? Stop fantasizing. Stop being ashamed of yourself because you're poorly educated or afraid, or you don't look like someone else, your feet are too big, your ears are too big, or your breasts are too small, and your butt is too small. Stand up to life and change. Change is hard, but why die expressing regret? Do you know that negative thought and the negative dialogue that we conduct with ourselves every day can lead to murder because it's based on envy, hatred, and jealousy? I'm going to talk to you about how self dialogue has led to murder. I am going to repeat some information that we discussed earlier, I think in our fifth session. This is very important. You must have some information about yourself in order to change. You must have an idea of your self image. You must have an idea of your self esteem, whether you have what we would consider a normal self esteem or low self esteem. This is very important if you're going to attempt a change. If you are not satisfied with the person who you are, then you must change that person. But in order to change that person, you need tools. You need tools to develop certain behaviors that will help you enhance your life. That is why I'm asking that you read these books to bolster your self esteem, to give you a guide to higher learning and social skills to live with others. Our lessons are viewer supported. If you enjoy our lessons and they have been a help to you, please send the Women of Courage show a donation. Any amount will help. $1 will help. Spread our message. You can also go to our website, touchedbythelight.us, and purchase the book, You Are the Prophet of Your Life. We support ourselves through book sales. The book is also on sale at the radio station WHPR 160 Victor Street in Highland Park, Michigan, right off of Woodward Avenue. If you do not have internet access, you can make a donation to us by mailing it to Post Office Box 7688, Bloomfield Hills, Michigan 48302. Your support will be greatly appreciated. Join us at the Women of Courage show every Friday from 3 to 4 p.m. and every Sunday from 8 to 9 a.m. for information that will change your life.